This is the Bradford Files.
Why do I get to go first? Because you're the baddest.
The Bradford Files with Rob Bradford and Kirk Minihane, featuring topics you care about and some you might not. Today on the Bradford Files, a discussion of Twitter, Battle of the Network Stars, and a chat with David Ortiz.
It's an honor for me to be the first guest at your show.
It's the Bradford Files.
Welcome to the first edition of the Bradford Files, a podcast.
Finally, another podcast.
In case you didn't know, I'm here with Kirk Minihane. I'm Rob Bradford. Kirk, why did we able to call this Bradford Files and not the Minihane Files?
I don't know, Rob. Why?
Because I'm the boss. A.
Right.
What's
okay.
B?
I think we know. Do you want me to say?
Yeah, I want you to say it.
Because you have what is it? A pair of leather pants in your closet?
No,
is that what it is?
leather vest.
A leather vest.
Much like James Gardner in the Rockford Files, and plus I have copyrighted the name, so I figure I should do something with it. So anyway,
I saw Jimmy Gardner, as we call him in the business.
Yeah.
I saw him one time at a celebrity golf tournament in San Diego.
Did he look exactly like he did in The Great Escape?
He almost choked to death on his own pants. He has like the Clint Eastwood pants look going. And it was at the putting green. I was with my now wife, and somebody called up to him. They're like, Mr. Gardner, I the screenwriter of they remade the Maverick movie.
Yes,
he was the
yes,
dad or whatever.
I remember that.
So William Goldman was a screenwriter, and the guy says, I went to a whatever with William Goldman was speaking. And he said that you were the key to making the Maverick movie work. He shuffled over. He said what? He said what? And he said you were the key to making the Maverick movie work. Oh. He must be sick. And then he just shuffled away. That's my James Gardner story.
That's much better than the image I have him in the turtleneck tunneling under the Nazi occupation. So
yeah, the days of carrying Donald Pleasance around are over.
No. Well, yeah. So anyway, you'll get more of that here. Well, good start, Kirk.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Energy.
Yeah, that was solid. So anyway, let's get right into it. And first thing that we're going to touch on is David Ortiz.
Uh-huh.
You know why? Because I interviewed him for 10 minutes
Wow.
last night. So I interviewed David Ortiz, and we had to get to a couple topics, one of which maybe nobody cares about, but I had to address anyway, which is his choice of the top 5 movies. In case you missed it, I can't believe anyone missed this video segment 2 years ago when we had the 2 people go on the website. David Ortiz, Sean Casey asked David Ortiz what his top 5 movies were, and this is exactly what he said.
Number 1 have to be Scarface.
Scarface, all
Al
right.
Pacino.
All right, he's big time. Say hello to my little friend.
Hell yeah.
That's legit.
Anna like this.
Anna likes this?
Anna like this, yeah.
All right.
That's number 2. Number 3 have to go Anaconda.
Anaconda's a great movie. That's a great movie, Bob.
And you know it.
What else?
Number 4 have to be Jesus.
What about Braveheart?
Rambo 3. There's a lot of Rambo coming out. And
what about the new Rambo? That one was terrible.
That was bad. And number 5 got to be that Pink Panther.
Kirk, how would you rate David Ortiz's movie judgment?
Well, let me ask you this: which Pink Panther is he speaking of? Is he speaking of the Peter Sellers version or the?
No, I'm pretty sure that he wasn't talking about that.
You think he's talking about the Steve Martin version?
Yeah.
I would say it's not completely out of line from all the athletes that I've seen over the years who have been interviewed and I've seen on Cribs and whatnot. It seems like it falls right into place. I don't think he's going to be confused with Pauline Kael or an early Roger Ebert with his favorite films. But I mean, to each his own. I mean,
Yes. I mean, yes. Just leave it at that.
I'm not sure Anaconda's not without its merits. I haven't really watched it again since I saw it the first time.
Anaconda, Analyze This, which Sean Casey thought was a porno. Analyze This. Scarface. I think in fairness to David Ortiz, Scarface, I think he was identifying as number 1. Rambo 3.
Right.
Which, yeah, not the latest Rambo, clearly.
An athlete has to say that Scarface is their favorite movie, though. I mean,
Is it contractually
I
obligated?
actually think that's part of his option. Yeah.
And how about Pink Panther? Where does which
not-
which clause in the contract does that lend itself to?
That's a rough one. I have, in fairness, I haven't seen the Steve Martin updated version of the Peter Sellers classic, but I would say those would not land on my list of 5 favorite movies. I'll be fair.
It's just a shame. I mean, to exclude Boat Trip out of that list is just a travesty. So anyway, there you go. And we talked. So when I sat down with David Ortiz, we had to address that topic, but we also addressed his contract, what his future what awaits in his future, and really what his mindset is going into the off season. So sidle up to the to your listening device and take a listen. David Ortiz, myself, right now. David Ortiz, first guest on the Bradford Files. Welcome.
All right, thanks, my man. I appreciate it. And it's an honor for me to be the first guest at your show.
We won't be too long, but and I will get to the fact that you picked the Pink Panther as one of your top 5 movies the other year.
Well, I finished with the Pink Panther, but I have a few good ones right before that.
Yeah, I don't know. Rambo 3? Anyway.
Actually, I got to include Rocky.
We'll assume that's not Rocky 6, right?
Yeah, I got some good ones, man. But like I say, I'm a movie guy. I like to watch a lot of movies and watch a lot of TVs, and that's how I go.
Yeah, like Anna likes this, other known as Analyze This. Yeah,
and Anaconda.
You know it. So you just, congratulations, 31st home run. I mean, this is a pretty great accomplishment, and you just finished talking to the media, and you can sense that a lot of people are saying, hey, you know what? I can appreciate how far you've come since the first month. And like you said, the first month is just 1 month, and it's how you finish. So you took a lot of pride in the season?
Well, like I say, Rob, you're one of the guys that come early to the clubhouse, and I know that you notice that I'm one of those guys that I get prepared to play the game, and I'm one of the guys that just sit around and wait for things to happen. I looking for things. I try to figure things out. And I know that what was happening to me in April, it wasn't what it was gonna be the rest of the season. I work hard. I try to figure things out. I started things because one of the hitters that people know that you can do some damage. Pitcher doesn't just gonna come to you here, hit it. They're gonna work you out, see if they can get you chasing bad pitches or anything like that, and then move on. You know what I'm saying? But I'm kind of the guy that I don't really like to play under the pressure that people put on you. I like to play under the pressure that you get from the pitchers, because those are the guys that you really have to deal with. And it seems like everything was going in that direction. It was a lot of talking about myself at the beginning of the season. Oh, he's older, he can catch up on pitches, he can do this, he can do that, he don't have the power that he used to, whatever, And it was something that really kind of hit me, because like I say, I'm one of the guys that I work really hard to figure things out, and I know how to figure things out. I just need time and make sure that I lock myself in the way I like it, and then things happen. And that's what happened, like right now, the numbers that I have put up through the season, those are basically the numbers that you guys have seen from me through the year. Even last year that I have a couple of bad months, you saw my number towards the end, and at one point nobody hit more homers or got more RBIs than myself. But I'm the kind of hitter. I am the kind of guy that I might start slow, but I'm gonna finish strong. And if I start hot, look out.
And it just goes back to figuring out a way. You knew that you had the idea that, okay, I know how to do it, but it must make it difficult, like you said, when you're getting asked every single day about it. That must be the most difficult thing for you.
I don't think there's a player that can play the game like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I bounce back, probably because I'm strong mentally, but you don't play baseball like that. That's not the way baseball is supposed to be. Baseball is supposed to be, okay, I got your back, go and do your thing, and we count with you. I know this ball club count with myself, and I know I get a lot of pressure from from everyone expecting me to do well every single day. It's not gonna happen. That's not how baseball goes. You're gonna hit some guy gonna get you out, and whatever, you know. But this is a game that is this is a season that is 162 games, and you see guys that they have bad months, probably bad first half, and they know how to figure things out. So I was being questioned since spring training. I don't know if you remember. People was worried about me because I was like 0 for 14 in the spring training. I was like, seriously. Then I got hot 1 week here in the spring training, and then everybody was like, "What happened to you people? This is spring training."
Well, day 2 of the season. I remember day 2.
Yeah, and then that was no. I'm going way back.
Yeah.
That was a spring training, and then after the second game in the season, everybody was questioning me. I never saw anything like that before either.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to tell you is there's been a lot of questioning things about myself when towards the end of the day people get what they get, you know, and I guess that's been my luck, and I gotta keep it that way.
Did it make it any more difficult? You had the people pressuring you and questioning and everything else, and then you have the reality that is this: you're going to a contract year. Did that enter into your or make it more difficult for you at all?
Well, it make it difficult, but you know, I'm one of those guys that say that the longest I can hit that baseball, I'm gonna find a job somewhere, because this game is all about chemistry, integrity. People know how hard you work, and that's what every baseball team in Major League Baseball look for. And I think the longest I've been here, I've been doing my job. Sometimes facing some tough situations, you know, which is something that is part of the game. But towards the end, the numbers are there.
Yeah. Well, not only the numbers are there, but do you think also they should look at all the things that you're talking about? You're talking about a leader on the team. You're talking about what you've done to this point, and you're talking about a guy who's a foundation. I mean, when you sit down at the end of the year, do you think that should be factored in as well?
Well, I'm gonna leave that out to them, because that's something that you as a president, as a owner, as the one person that look around your ball club, look around your employees, see how much ground they cover. You keep that on mind, you know. Me, all I can do is just keep on doing my thing and stay humble and keep doing things the way I do it, because I believe that what I do is not too bad.
And as you sit here, we only have a few games to go. I mean, you sit here, it seems like you're at peace with yourself, at peace with the situation, at peace at whatever might happen going forward.
Well, you know, I always let you guys know how much and how much interested I am in finishing my career here. And, you know, I just not gonna feel comfortable coming back here just for a year, just to leave all the pressure and all the stuff that I've been through. I don't think it's fair for myself, because I think about things and I go through a lot of things mentally, especially for this ball club that I have. It's in my blood. The Red Sox is in my blood, you know, and there's an organization that I always look at them like it's home, like it's part of me. It's this one. I mean, this the organization that I be here longer, but I carry a lot of responsibility playing for this ball club, and I try to keep up with. So, but I don't think I can keep up anymore with all the crap that you go through just because you cool off for 1 week or 1 month. I don't think I can keep up with that, and I think that the only way you can stay away from that is when people know that you have a guaranteed contract.
So you don't want to do the 1 year thing.
I don't feel like it unless I have to, you know what I'm saying? But I want to be what I was here, and being part of this ball club until I finish my career, because I think, like I say, I feel for this ball club, and I, believe it or not, every year I try to work harder to put out the number that we put out there, and I'm telling you, even going through some tough situation, I think I have done a pretty good job.
And so your ideal situation sounds that if you could do a multi-year thing and basically say, you know what, maybe that's the end. Maybe,
Probably,
yeah.
probably. Everybody have an end. Everybody
Yeah.
have a finish.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like whenever I walk out of here, after I play my last game as a shortstop, I wanna walk out through a big door because I put myself together for that, and I try to keep it that way. You know, if things doesn't work out that way, I mean, not too much you can do about it. But I try to keep my head up and do the right thing just to that would be a huge accomplishment.
So I'm going to give you a chance. You can take back any of those movies and put in another one. I think you had Anaconda. You had Analyze This. Scarface was number one.
Pink
Panther.
And
I'm
gonna give you Rocky IV.
Rocky 4. It's the worst of the bunch. All right, David. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
You gotta go.
So, Kirk, your thoughts on David Ortiz's interview?
Well, I mean, let me tell you something. Not since Mike Wallace went after the Sultan of Iran in 1982 have I been subject to such a hard-hitting interview. I mean, how did Ortiz let you out of the locker room after that? Did Pam Gailey strip you of your season media credential after that?
Listen, some tough questions had to be asked, and I was the person to ask them.
Were you guys actually slow dancing during the interview? I thought I heard shuffling.
That's unfair. You're just being unfair. You're looking at this with a jaded point of view.
Let me just say this about Ortiz, okay? And I understand he was our guest, and I appreciate that. And I'm
Thanks
sure
for coming on, David Ortiz.
We'll send him something, I'm sure.
What are we? We're already sponsored, right?
Well, I don't know if we have a sponsor, but I think
Fanny's Marinara sauce.
That's true. We will send him a clip of the best of DJ Bean's columns for the book that's coming out in November. But the thing about Ortiz is, it never ends. It's been the template for the second half. Hit a home run and bitch that night about his contract. You know that. I know you can't say that, but you know that.
All right.
That's right out of the Mike Manansky playbook, by the way. I know you can't say that.
So what do you want me for silence from now on?
Go ahead.
Listen, I just want to thank David Ortiz for coming on again.
Thank you,
Bradford
David.
Files.
Thanks, Dave.
I don't know if you understand, but he's a big fan of the show.
Well, I know. He's been since the beginning. I know that. Executive producer.
Well, in fairness to David Ortiz, you're saying, okay, he hits a home run and bitches about his contract. It's not like he got up there. Now to set the scene a little bit, this interview was done in a private moment after the media session, which lasted about 5 minutes.
Right.
So in that media session, he talked about hitting the home runs, hitting against lefties, and then people start asking about his contract. So he answered the questions. Now when we sit down with him, as much as I would like to sit there and talk with him about the Pink Panther, Anaconda, Rambo 3, and Scarface for the next 10 minutes, I think more people are interested about his future, right? So I ask him about that. He answers it. If he didn't answer it honestly, then you would have bitched about it.
Well, you think I'm being critical of you in this entire?
Well, maybe.
In
maybe a little
regard,
defensive.
In what regard? I mean,
no, but
my point is you can. It just always happens with Ortiz. He's hypersensitive about this contract, and this is a guy. Let's be honest, has been paid a lot of money. You know,
yes,
is earned it in spots, has earned it, not earned it in some spots, and has been given a free pass in Boston for a lot of stuff over the years. It's past couple of years especially that some athletes wouldn't get in this town. He's still treated like a god in this town, and it never stops. The guy bitches and moans every time about his contract. He wants 3 years. He wants 4 years. There's no respect. I don't get why is he so sensitive about it? Where does it come from? What's it born from?
Well, first of all, I'll go back to it. He's answering the question.
Right.
Now, if you were in that situation, and you have to be fair about this, because I wish I made $12.5 million, and wouldn't it be great? I don't care. I would do anything for that. You know as well as I do, that's not a reality. It's all relative. And these guys think about, okay, you know what? My contract is up. I did this. I performed this way. These other guys are getting paid this way, and that's how I want to be paid. You wouldn't do the same thing?
Well, I have a contract, so it doesn't matter.
But but that's what I'm talking about. This like do the Wayne's World dream sequence here. Just imagine Imagine, if you will, put the rainbows and unicorns over your head with a wizard hat.
Let me ask you this. What caliber of gun did John Henry hold to David Ortiz's head when he had him sign a contract that had a $12.5 million player option at the end of the year?
Yeah, so?
So why does he want? Why can't he just accept that may happen or may not happen? Why does he talk about 3 or 4 years?
Clearly, you did not listen to the interview well enough.
I was so caught in Rocky IV.
Because the fact is, they say, hey, listen, if they pick it up, they pick it up. But I would rather have something where it was multiple years and I wouldn't have to go through this type of thing again where I worried about. Now, people say, well, why are you saying that? I just think he's being honest. The guy hit 31 home runs, right? Good year.
Good year, yes.
Okay, right, yeah. All right. In the days of yore, when contracts were a litle higher and DHs were valued a little bit more, if you hit 31 home runs, even if you're in your mid-30s, you were probably thought to be around an $11, $12 million player, right? Now, I don't think that's what the market is now, but still, if you hit 31 home runs, he's probably thinking, hey, you know what? I'm deserved this chance at getting a couple of years. So I think he's being honest.
My thing with Ortiz is I think he thinks it's still 2005, 2004 with David Ortiz, and it's not anymore. The Red Sox it'd be ludicrous to sign him to a long-term extension.
Well, what's a long-term extension?
I would not give him the 12.5. I'd say, you know what, you want to come back at $8 million, come back. If not, hit the bricks.
For 1
Which
year?
is one of my phrases.
Yeah,
1 year. Would you rather have David Ortiz next year or Adam Dunn for the next 3 years?
By the way, I like it. Does that fit the headline space?
I wish it did.
Minihane, Ortiz, hit the bricks.
I haven't done that yet. I'd rather have Adam Dunn for the next 3 years and David Ortiz for next year.
That's fair enough.
First of all,
yeah, that's fine. But okay, so
why are we yelling at each other?
Because it's intense, a lot of energy.
Yeah,
it's passionate.
Go ahead.
It's either David Ortiz, 31 home runs. You aren't going to find a lot of guys in Major League Baseball going to hit 30 home runs, right? We understand he was bad against lefties this year, and that might have dropped his value down and put some doubt in the mind of anybody who's going to sign him. But still, I think it's one of these things where you say, oh, well, rather have Adam Dunn. First of all, is Adam Dunn going to sign here to be a DH?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. You know better than me. I don't know.
Yes, I do.
What's the answer?
I actually am. Adam Dunn's our guest next week on the Bradford Files. No, I mean, all signs point to that. I don't think that was necessarily what he prefers. So I think that's going to be a tough signing. If you said, okay, you know what, those two guys are going to take the same money and Adam Dunn has no problem DHing, yeah, it's a debate. It's a little bit a legitimate debate. But also you have to factor in how many years is it going to take to get Adam Dunn. And if a team comes in and said, hey, you know what, we'll sign him with 3 or 4 years, are you comfortable with that? Are you more comfortable with signing Adam Dunn to a 4-year contract than you are in signing David Ortiz to a 2-year contract? Answer me now.
What it gets back to for me is the idea. It just annoys me on a human level.
Well, sorry to offend your sensibilities.
As you know, I'm a guy who's rooted in moral fiber, and the idea that Ortiz, I don't care what you say, she's just so sensitive. It never ends with him. It started all year. It started at the beginning of the year when he acted all offended when Francona benched him one day which may have turned out to.
But we aren't talking about that. We're talking about his contract.
Yeah, well, I'm getting the point is that he.
We're paying by the minute here.
I'll say this: the world would not end if the Red Sox picked up Ortiz's $12 million option.
Yes.
The $4 million. If I say he should make $8 million, and the Red Sox want to pay him $12.5 million, that $4.5 million is just not going to make a big difference. And if the Red Sox want to bring in Jeremy Hermida or some jabroni to be their DH, take a shot on some guy, then I say bring back Ortiz. But I would rather have Dunn for 3 years than Ortiz for 2 years. I would.
Okay, that's fair. And I think that what we're talking about is just all might be moot because the more I think about it, now I didn't think they were going to pick up the $12.5 million option because it's just not what the market's bearing right now. But the more I think about it, the more I kind of think that they might. And so all the stuff that we're talking about, it's like, okay, who cares? And
that's good.
Oh, all right. Well, let's move on. But one of my final thoughts is I don't know what my final thought is. Oh, one of my final thoughts is the fact is that, he's the option gets picked up, and then he sits at the picnic table in Fort Myers and might say a few things. Hey, I really wish they didn't pick up the option. But at the end of the day, he's playing for another contract. And if you're a businessman, and they've done this before where they let Schilling ride out his contract when they had an option there.
Yep.
If you're a businessman, you always want the guy to be playing for something and being motivated by something. So I wouldn't really begrudge him for picking that up.
What's the market for Ortiz other than the Red Sox? How many other teams realistically are going to
and that's the problem. Is the fact is that you have one league. You have a guy who can only play one position, and how many teams need that position, and how many teams then of those teams will pay that kind of money for that position. So,
3?
Well, let me ask you this, because I know that you are in the inside of information of everything Major League Baseball.
True. Would
the Yankees be in the market for David Ortiz? You're talking about, obviously, a stadium that kind of fits his swing.
I
Good answer.
Pre-George Stein, with George Steinbrenner was still kicking, I'd say maybe. Are the Yankees going to give David Ortiz what? Are they going to have to give him $10-11 million to DH next year?
If the Yankees say, okay, David Ortiz, we're willing to give you 2 years, $12 million a year. Which for the Yankees, let's be honest, we understand the Yankees have a budget just like everybody else, but 2 years at $12 million isn't an enormous investment for them.
Right.
They do that. The Red Sox. They say, hey, you know what, we're comfortable with 2 years, 10. Now, Ortiz still might sign with the Red Sox because he likes it here, and I think the Red Sox know that, so they have that kind of in their corner. But is that out of the realm of possibility that the Yankees might try to do that and that Ortiz might take that offer?
No, definitely not. I mean, Berkman's gone right after this year, and Nick Johnson did nothing, so, I mean, they're going to be looking at the DH, but that's it. To me, that's the only ball game in town is the Yankees. Where's he? If you're talking about that kind of money, there's nowhere else. He's not going to go to Tampa. Was he Detroit?
Well, you know what?
L.A.?
It doesn't matter.
Well, but that's it. That possibility, I think, is the only possibility they could do. And one other thing before we close.
Minihane, Ortiz to Yanks.
Before we close the Ortiz book.
Thanks.
There's sort of this kind of national. These national writers, these dopes, always get it wrong. They're playing it up like there's going to be this massive sort of swell of emotion from the fans that'll keep Ortiz here. They want Ortiz. To me, if the Red Sox make a legitimate offer to Ortiz and he walks, the fans aren't going to get that worked up about it. It's not like it used to be with Ortiz and the Red Sox fans. I think they'll be all right if the Red Sox are make a competitive offer or at least explain the situation and Ortiz walks.
Well, let's be honest. When's the last time that legitimately happened? When's the last time there was this groundswell of emotion behind someone in
Red Auerbach when he went to the Knicks when they were jumping in front of the cab in '77.
I thought you were going to throw out a Charlie Simmer reference there. I don't know why. But probably Mike Lowell, right? Mike Lowell. But why was that? Because they won the championship. And I think that you're right because a lot of people think that they should be turning over this roster anyway.
Right.
Now, if they don't sign someone and they do go with, hey, you know what, we're going to go with some sort of platoon at DH, and which might be effective, but perception-wise, it would be a big hit. But so, I don't know.
But I don't think the Red Sox. I don't think that Theo Epstein said, "I'm signing Mike Lowell because he won a World Series MVP for us." I think he thought he was going to contribute.
No, but you're talking about perception.
Right,
you're talking about fan perception, and you're right. You're right in the sense that yeah, sometimes people got upset over Alex Gonzalez. Fortunately, I was able to talk them down off the ledge with my Marco Scudero analysis. But yeah, so people get worked up for a day, and then it goes away. And then, but I think that was different because they won the championship. Anyway, did we talk about David Ortiz enough?
I think so.
Thank you, David Ortiz, for coming on the Bradford Files. You're always welcome back.
Anytime.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that nice of you?
5 favorite novels next week?
So now we have to really quickly. What's your top movie ever?
My favorite movie of all time?
Yes.
Is All the President's Men.
That's weak.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What?
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Well, I would say that there's a bunch of them lumped together.
Well, go ahead.
I like Slapshot.
It's fantastic. No problem with that.
All right.
Go ahead.
I like the Pink Panther, Anaconda. analyze this.
Do you think like Ortiz watches Anaconda and afterwards is like, this is one of the 5 best movies I've ever seen? Like, do you think he's like, he called, like, I know when I saw a movie, like, I wrote a column a couple of years ago talking about my 10 favorite movies of the last decade.
Yes, I remember that.
My number 1 favorite movie was Zodiac.
Yes.
I think it was the best film last decade. I saw that movie that night. I was so excited. Called a couple of my friends. I was talking to my wife about it. I was excited. I could barely sleep that night. I kept thinking about the movie.
That's really sad.
Do you think Ortiz was like that with Anaconda?
Sure.
You really think so? You think he called up what year did that come out? Like 96?
I don't know, J-Lo, right?
Yeah, who did he call up? Was he like where was he then? Twins organization?
Yeah, called up Torrey Hunter.
Yeah, he called up Torrey Hunter and was like, "You're not going to believe this movie. These performances are unbelievable. This nuanced plot, these twists."
Yeah. Well,
or he's like that Pink Panther, that Clouseau is crazy.
My only question, really, I think the real revelation of that whole interview was the fact that he was able to add in a Rocky movie, which Rocky IV, with all due respect, Rocky IV was not the one I would add in. I actually might take, as much as I was jacked and pumped after Rocky IV.
Oh yeah.
In hindsight, I actually might take Balboa over Rocky IV.
Well, I'll give you the Rocky movies if you want them because we don't count Rocky V. In terms of pure cinematic enjoyment for me, enjoyment, not the quality of film, it goes 3, 2, 4, 1, and the last one that just came out.
Really?
Yeah.
1 so far down the list?
Well, just it's not a whole lot of fun. I mean, I don't think Ortiz again is watching it as a cinephile, as it were.
No, I don't think he was either.
Well, I'm just saying. So I could see. I mean, Rocky IV is great. It's great for what it is.
I should have known because I did see him walking the Fenway Park stairs with a log on his back.
My two leftover questions from Rocky IV all these years later.
Yes.
You think like Drago probably should have been brought up on some sort of legal murder charges, considering he shoved the referee out of the way and killed Apollo Creed? Number 1.
Well, it would have to be extradition.
Well, yeah, they should have kept him in the country.
Yeah.
And number 2,
that was a problem. They got him out of there quick.
Before that fight, if you remember, Rocky and Apollo were talking in the training room, and Rocky doesn't want any part of this fight. He knows something's wrong. But Stallone, the guy didn't miss in the 80s. He knew what was going on. He said to Apollo, why don't we just postpone it for a couple of weeks? And then Apollo says to him, well, what happens if some guy comes in here and knocks a bum out? Is that how it works? They actually have a guy ready to go if Apollo postpones a fight right there?
Yeah, his name's Ray Mercer.
I just never understood that. I don't know. I always wanted to see a Clubber Lang Drago fight. That would have been a great pay-per-view fight. Like both guys coming off the Balboa loss.
What was the movie? Oh, not the Heartbreak Kid. The forget it. It was another boxing movie. It was the most miscast boxing movie ever.
When was it?
With the director, the guy who directs now.
Peter Berg.
Peter Berg.
The Great White Hype.
Yes.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yes.
Terrible. That should be on the 64 worst sports movies of all time. Column that I'll be farting out at some point, I'm sure.
All right, so now it's that special time of the show where we get into emails. Hold on. Here's our email music. First one we pull up is from Colin M. in Brighton. Loved the show last week, guys. Keep up the good work. This email will go down in history as the email that made us actually do a show.
That's true.
Thanks, Colin M.
Thank you, Colin, yeah.
What's your email?
Well, I can't really get into the actual specifics of what's said. There's a lot of bleeping going on, but there's a guy who comments on my columns pretty frequently, and he has given himself the tag Kirk M. Sucks, S-U-X.
Thanks.
Well, there's different ways to spell it. And he sent me his first email last week after my Patriots report card that I did on the Jets game, and he has taken he's actually taken the email account out, Kirk M. Sucks. We'll say at AOL.com, just for argument's sake. And in this email, pretty much asked me why I have a job, why you hired me, how much longer I'm going to be putting on this facade for, and basically
all good questions.
And basically, at the end, suggesting it might be better for everybody if I decide to maybe take my own life.
Really?
Yes.
Should we investigate this further? Are you worried?
It's possible I sent it to myself. I mean, but I sent you. I learned from Rob Bradford the template. Thanks for reading. I sent back the thanks for reading email.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
How'd that work?
No response after that. You kill him with kindness.
And usually you get back the email saying, hey, it was nothing personal.
Yeah, that's true.
I was having a bad day. Maybe I didn't read it right. That's usually how it works. And hey, I can't really argue with a lot of his points. Just the mere fact that I just love that he made his own email account. That's pretty solid. Why don't you do like some sort of Counter-Strike? Why don't you make your own email account and email him back?
It's just a war I don't want to get into. It's just, you just work as hard as you can. You get your hands dirty, and you hear stuff like that.
It is like digging ditches.
Yeah, it's like coal mine. What am I doing out here?
Trying to find tweets from NFL teams and NFL players
I mean, this
for
is
the
real
NFL
work.
picks. Man, I just don't know how you do it. It's
How
like
many-
like who bought the beer at the top of the Shawshank Redemption roof?
How often do you read a tweet from an athlete and think, "Oh, I'm glad he wrote this. Now I know something I didn't know before."
How often?
Yeah.
Well, Nate Robinson at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, I always find out something new.
What does he sleep? What's going on?
I really don't know. I think he went to like a webinar once, and they said, the perfect time to get retweeted is at 3 or 4 in the morning. And what you want to do is eliminate all vowels in your tweets as much as possible. So people think that they know what they're reading, but they really have no idea.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
Yeah, that is a serious problem in our society. The athletes' tweets.
Oh, here we go.
It is.
Why is it? I mean, why is it?
Because I can't understand what they're saying. That's why it's a problem.
Are you telling me that you'd rather read what Woody Page tweets than what Chad Ochocinco tweets? I mean,
Sometimes
both are morons in their own special way.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was a compliment or an insult.
Kind of both.
I think that it frustrates me. Marquise Daniels tweets are the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, but why do you follow Marquise Daniel on Twitter? What are you going to get? Just get rid of him. Kick him out.
Because
What's
it's
the
cool.
point?
Like it's all the cool kids are doing it.
I mean, what is Marquise Daniels going to do for you in his tweets?
Because
You think he's following you?
Maybe.
You think, closing time. Jeez, I got to read this Mariners Red Sox closing time. That
Because if I can decipher it, then one day, if I decipher what he's saying, then I will have gone to a place where I never thought I'd go before, which is the world of the professional athlete.
that Celtics locker, not Marquise Daniels is going to be there, but that Celtics locker room this year is going to be
Tweeterific.
just a chaos, absolute utter soup to nuts chaos in there.
How do you know?
What are you talking? What do you mean? How do I know?
What are you doing? Like the hard knock? Have you been doing the hard knocks for the last 10 years of going around and filming Nate Robinson with the Knicks?
I was there, man.
Shaq in Cleveland last year.
I saw Nate Robinson and Glenn Davis last year. That whole scene. You throw Shaq in the mix, it's just gonna be. I'm gonna be totally worn out by the Celtics by like the beginning of December. It'll get me to the playoffs time at that point.
Well, but if they go on any kind of losing streak, have any kind of injuries, that's when the poop is going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
It's going to go. That could be a very, very difficult group if things start going south, much more than last year. I mean, who would you say is the most important guy on that team in terms of, okay, if that guy gets hurt, that guy's out of it gets in a putting accident at the Celtics golf tournament.
Right.
Out for the year.
Which Celtics player can they least afford to lose for the year?
Well, I wasn't going to phrase it that way, but sure.
Well, it's got to be Rondo, I think. I mean, I don't think there's any question about it. He's the key defensive player on the team, and he has the ball 90% of the time on offense. I mean, I don't know who.
So what happens then? I mean, if the way that the NBA is constructed, where you have basically 3 or 4 teams that can legitimately win it, and you lose Rondo, do you enter into the world of the Washington Wizards?
Come on, no. I mean, you still have Allen, you still have Pierce.
No, you know what you enter into? You enter into the world of the Celtics in the playoffs a couple years ago, where they might be able to win a round and that's it.
Yeah, it'd be like 45 and 37 or something.
And then that there goes out the window your hope for the last great run, even though all these guys are in 2-year contracts. I understand that.
So what you're telling me is that if Rajon Rondo misses the entire season with an injury, the Celtics will be worse off. That's why we do it here.
That's how we do it.
That's how it rolls.
Yeah, well, it's a legitimate point. People are hanging a lot of hopes and dreams on this team.
Well, I just think people are excited. I am amazed. I totally misread how important or how much Shaq was going to mean to this city. I just didn't think people were going to care that much. Because the guy is
How do you know?
Because people are fired up about it. Everyone's you put something up, people read it, people are into it. The guy's 350 years old. He's not going to do a whole lot. I think people are going to be pretty disappointed in the level of production they see from Shaq. If they're realistic about it, it's going to be okay. But if they expect him to be anything close to Shaq, not going to be pretty.
Well, how about this? If they didn't sign Shaq, you look at it now, because I think that when they signed Jermaine O'Neal, some people thought, oh, well, Kendrick Perkins is going to be along eventually and help out. If they don't, there's a huge hole there. I mean, if he's another one. If you get him hurt, you talk about a bad rebounding team last year. You're right back to square one in a lot of respects because you don't have Kendrick Perkins, one of your better rebounders. You're placing with a Jermaine O'Neal. You don't know what he's going to do. I mean, Shaq offers an important piece of this puzzle. I agree. I mean, I don't think that people are going to get what they hope in terms of production, but in still a complimentary way, he's an important part of it. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
It's going to be weird when we have Shaq on and we ask him about his 5 favorite movies because he's actually been in 3 of my favorite movies.
See, that's what I was trying to get Ortiz to go down the road.
Knocking Shaq?
Just please keep listing movies until you say the word Kazam.
Blue Steel? No, not Blue Steel. What was it?
Blue Steel?
Steel? Wasn't he a movie where he was like in like armor?
Kazam.
No, that's the Genie movie.
Kazam.
He was in some other movie.
On next week's show, we'll be having Kirk Minihane's 3 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Many of you don't realize this, but we just tried executing it for the first time, but it was edited out of this program.
It didn't go as well as I had hoped.
No. I'm going to tell you what it was anyway. I had brought up Andy Dick, and the logical progression was that Andy Dick worked with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
What? Sarah Michelle Gellar?
In
what?
Happily Never After.
I've never heard of that movie.
Who worked with Kevin Bacon.
Where'd you work with Kevin Bacon?
In The Air Up There.
She was in The Air Up There?
You got it.
How old was she then?
I don't know. I don't have the answers to all these questions. But is there anything else you want to mention before we part ways here?
No. I just want to thank everybody who's been coming to the website. Keep it strong. WEI.com representing.
Peeps. What was it? We should have a contest because I really think we got to start giving away the collection of DJ
the
Bean's
best of DJ Bean's columns.
Best of DJ Bean's columns.
I just want that cover of that book.
Next week, DJ Bean will be rapping for us on his way to Prague to cover the Bruins. Anyway, thanks for everyone for stopping by, and thanks to David Ortiz for being our special guest. And just don't listen to what Kirk Minihane said anything about David Ortiz. We thank him very much.
Thank you, David.
And we'll be back next week or another day.